Hey YouTube, let's talk about training SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound training. What the fuck does that even mean, Mark, you crazy piece of shit? Good question, let's talk about it. Specific training. One of the things that plagues a lot of people when they go to the gym or when they're trying to do anything is they show up and they're kind of like, okay, well, I don't know, what do you want to work today? I don't know, what do you want to work today? I don't know. Just want to work arms, bro? Okay, let's work arms. 6 days a goddamn week. Have specific training in mind before you ever step foot in the gym. You want to run a marathon? Get a marathon training program. You want to powerlift? Get a powerlifting program. Have something specific in mind before you ever show up towards your goals, whether that be strength training, bodybuilding, weight loss, running, anything, right? Specified training, specific. Second is measurable. All right, let's go back to that marathon analogy. Before I decided that running is awful and I hate it because I suck at it. It's one of my I used to run marathons. Now, how do you know if you're getting better at a marathon, or how do you know if you're getting better on your times when you run? Do you just run 10K, don't time it, and then you're like, I think I did okay? No, you put your fucking watch on, you run, and you try to beat your last time. When you go to the gym, you want to have measurable goals, right? Whether that be timing your runs or that be how much you're lifting. If you're doing 3 sets of 10 of like, I don't know, 185 bench, and you don't ever add weight, you're not really progressing, all right? But that's something you can measure rather than just like picking up random weights and being like, oh, let's just go with 25s. I don't know, today let's do like 10s, you know? Have a measurable training schedule, all right? So that when you want to do progressive overload or you want to add, you know that you're doing better than like the last time you went in, or a month ago, or a year ago for that matter. Measurable training, okay? Have some kind of way of knowing you're doing better, whether that's a notebook that you write stuff down, or you're just that guy that remembers everything. I don't know, I have mine programmed on my phone on what I need to put in. So measurable training. Achievable, okay? Oof, man, some people come out with some lofty goals like, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds this month. And you're like, okay, have you ever tried losing 20 pounds? Like in a month? I mean, shit, some people can do it. And I know the people on The Biggest Loser do it, but they've also got like nutritionists and coaches and doctors looking after them. 20 pounds is hard to do in a month. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but you're gonna lose a lot of muscle mass on the way down, unless you have no muscle mass. But the point being is it achievable? Is it something that you can achieve realistically? And we'll get to realistic in a minute, but something achievable, right? This year, I want to put 20 pounds on my bench press. Yeah, that's achievable, unless you're like an elite, and then maybe you might only put it on 5, but that's an achievable goal. This year, I want to run a half marathon. With proper training, that's an achievable goal. This year, I'd like to lose 50 pounds. Believe it or not, over the course of 52 weeks, that's an achievable goal, right? Make sure that your goals are achievable, right? Not something ridiculous like, I've never gone for a run in my life, but I'm going to run an Ironman this year. No, you're fucking not. Just saying. Realistic goals, and that goes along with achievable. Be realistic in what you're planning on doing. If you've never gone for a run in your life, expecting you to run an ultramarathon that year probably isn't realistic. If, on the other hand, you've never run a day in your life and you know, like, you know what, I kind of want to do a 5K fun run or a 10K run, that's realistic, absolutely. Who knows, you might even get that in 3 months, you might get it in 6, but that's a realistic goal. Don't wrap your head around what other people can achieve or what other people have done. Be realistic to yourself. Look at what you have done, what you haven't done, what you realistically think, can I do this or not, right? Because if you set yourself up for failure, you're fucked. Sorry, swearing. And time-bound. Time-bound is important. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. Okay, and how long? Oh. If there's no time bound attached to a lot of goals, people generally they tend to ignore them, right? If you turn around and you're like, I'm going to add 50 pounds to my back squat, you're like, okay, and how long? I don't know, eventually. It's not time bound that you don't really feel a pressing need to get there. But if you're like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year in 52 weeks, and you hit, I don't know, 10 weeks in and you've lost 3 pounds, you're like, oh, son of a bitch, I got to pick my game up or I'm not going to make that goal. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, guys. That is the way you should approach all training. Whether it be running, whether it be weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, or just being a gym rat, right? Be specific in what you're going in for. Don't ever not have a plan. Have a plan no matter what your goal is. Measurable. Be sure that you can measure that and you can turn around and say, okay, like, 3 sets of 10 at 185. All right, let's add 5 pounds to the next set or the next month or the next whatever. Measure your progress, right? Time your runs. Is it achievable? Can you really do that in the time that you've given yourself with the time? And is it realistic, right? Can I really achieve that? I'd love to add 100 pounds on my bench this year, but that ain't gonna goddamn happen because at this point, yeah, no, that's just not gonna happen. Sorry. And I'm being realistic about that. I'd like to add 25, to be honest with you. I think it's realistic. I think it's achievable. We'll see. Realistic. Know yourself. Look at yourself and be like, is this realistic? If you tell yourself you're going to lose 300 pounds in a month, it's like, come on, guy. Fuck. Think, right? That's not realistic, guys. And time bound. Give yourself a time limit because if you don't, you're not going to feel pressured or stressed when you start slacking. Because if you don't have a time limit, you're going to sit back and go, oh, whatever, I'll figure it out. Right? We see this with people with like education, jobs, schooling, everything. They're like, oh, I want to go back to school. When? I don't know, eventually. And then they're $40 working at McDonald's, or $40. They're 40 years old working at McDonald's being like, oh, I'll go back to school eventually. Not that there's anything wrong with being 40 years old and working at McDonald's. I'm not trying to hack on you for that if that's what you do. My point simply being, if you tell yourself you're going to do something but you don't put a time attachment to it, your life's going to go by, guys. That's it. Training smart, guys. It's something you probably already do or have never really thought about it in those terms, but that's how you should approach every single day you go to the gym, go for a run, or do absolutely anything. Questions and comments down below, and as always, eat like a bodybuilder, train like a powerlifter.